Now, with energy costs still a major concern for households and communities, a series of local events across Clare is aiming to give people practical advice on how to save energy and access available supports. Community energy evenings are taking place in the coming weeks, bringing together experts and local voices to help people take the next steps. And to tell us more, joined on the line by Denise O'Brien, the SEC mentor with Clare Local Development Company. Denise, great to have you on. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Alan.
And also with us is the club chair of Newmarket and Fergus GAA, Freddy McInerney. Freddy, good morning to you.
Morning, Alan. How are things?
Very well. Thanks to both of you for joining us on this. Denise, you're working as a sustainable energy community mentor. How did that come about and what does the role involve?
Yeah, Alan, so I'm working over here with Clare Local Development Company with the last 6 months or so, and part of my role is a mentor for community groups to help them to come together under the very unifying topic at the moment of energy conservation and renewable energy. So my role is part funded by the SEAI, and I also report in here to the team in Leader in Clare Local Development Company. So it's been great. I've been out and about meeting groups like the group in Newmarket and Fergus, bringing various elements of the community together to organise events where information can be shared publicly for those that are interested.
Okay, and there's a series of these community energy evenings, one of which is happening at Newmarket and Fergus, which is why Freddy's with us as well, and we'll delve into that a little bit further. What is the importance of these events, and I suppose how were the various locations chosen?
Yeah, so there's actually a very easy way for a community group to register on seai.ie as an SEC, or a Sustainable Energy Community Group. And what that does then is brings you onto my radar as the Clare mentor. And I've gone out to visit many, many communities across the county who are either in the process of completing what the SEAI pathway is, which is learn, plan and do. Obviously, everybody wants to get to the do part where they get their grants or they get funding for their projects. But before you get to that, there's a really nice process of engagement within the community, like the event that we'll have next week, where people can come together, ask the silly questions maybe people want to know about grants, anything from insulation to solar PV to how to read my bill properly, So there's a very easy process, and my role as a mentor then is to guide communities through the process where they would ultimately engage with a consultant who would take them through a series of energy audits in identified buildings in the community, and out of that comes a register of opportunities that sets them up with an evidence-based approach to looking for various streams of funding.
And Freddy, you will be hosting the event in Newmarket on Fergus, and I suppose from a local GAA club perspective, why is it important to host events of this nature in the community?
We're delighted to be involved in a project like this. We have a facility there that's probably almost 50 years old now, our building. We did a certain amount of renovation on it a number of years ago, just before COVID. So the interiors and everything are looking great. So, we want to show it off to the community and to make it available to the community as well. But also this gives us the chance to tap in and see what's available by way of grants to help us to re-energise it from an energy point of view, and to, help us to update the likes of the solar panels, the likes of the heating system within the building, so it's an ideal opportunity. So it's education for us as well as everything else. And, if we can open it to the broader community, then why not, The hurling club in the market is central to the community. We've almost 900 members now, and we're about to embark on another larger project also. We're putting in an athletic development centre, which we hope will be a community hub. It's in the GA grounds. It's off the main road, so it allows people with lots of parking. We're going to start on that in the course of the next couple of months. So this will educate us before we start that project, if you like, and it'll also educate other people within the community. So it's a great combination. And we're delighted that Denise has come on board, and she's helping us out behind the scenes there to see what other grants we can avail of with the new building and with the old building. Everything now is about upgrading and getting facilities up to standard, and keeping your costs down. So in the market, yourself, over the years we've lost the doctor in the village. The Weavers Inn has closed. The Hunters has been sold recently. the second shop that was there has been closed for the last number of years. So we're hoping that a project like this will re-energise the community. It's out the Ballycar Road, that side of the town. The village has been, kind of a little bit, I won't say derelict isn't the right word, but, it's been, what's the word? Unloved, I suppose, for the last number of years. So we're hoping that this will re-energise this side of the community. Like I say, we've almost 900 members now, so everybody is coming in there every day of the week. We're heavily engaged with the 4 primary schools from Moneystone Hall, Ballycar, and of course Newmarket, which is the hub of the village. And we have a coach going in there every week, and that's drawing the kids down to the hurling pitch. And we have to put facilities in place now for those kids going forward. We're trying to think of the future. We're trying to think of the 10-year plan. Ireland has gone away from the pub. Now it's gone to cafe society. Every young person now is in the gym. Every old person is in the gym. So we're trying to provide a facility to cover all age groups. Of course, it's essential for our players. But outside of that, when you finish playing, we want you to be able to come into the club and have a place to go. If it's only to hold a conversation, have a cup of coffee, or if it's to do an exercise class, we want to keep people involved. And especially after COVID, you're still finding like that people are a little bit isolated. So we're hoping this will draw them back in, get them out of their houses, get them into the club, and create a whole community centre like in the heart of the village, safe parking, and bring all that to it. So we'll be launching a campaign over the next number of weeks to try and get that up and running. We have to do a lot of fundraising, but look, that's what community is all about.
Yeah, it is. And Denise, as Freddy has said, 900 members you would anticipate, even if you get a portion of that, you're going to have a great turnout next Tuesday, the 12th of May. And, people want to save money on their energy bills at the best of times. And we know we're not in the best of times when it comes to energy costs and all the reasons for that. How important is it for communities, not just Newmarket and Fergus, and indeed the other locations where you're going to be hosting these energy evenings? You're going to be in Mount Shannon, East Clare on Thursday the 21st of May, and then Saturday the 6th of June in Cloughlea. Beyond those communities, how important is it to start thinking about energy efficiency now, not weeks and months into the future? Because who knows where energy prices will be later into 2026.
I know. Well, the way I look at this, and especially, since I've been in this role, is that really the time is now, to start looking at what changes you can make. And I know it's a very controversial topic. And I know there's a whole issue of energy poverty, in certain strips across the county, So, one of the things that we would do here in CLDC is we would look at kind of what we call just transition, and one of my colleagues will be in attendance on the night in Newmarket to talk about very basic energy saving tips, cheap and cheerful methods that people can use to prevent drafts, to retain the heat that they have, So you have to start there, you have to meet people where they're at, and then you have people who are, in a position where they can put on solar, or they can look at, insulating the house and whatever it is. But there are many, many grants now available to try and meet people where they're at, but I do realise there's quite a diverse range of, financial ability among different cohorts, like to be able to upfront, the percentage that's needed. But we try and, as I said, meet people where they're at. The time is now to start thinking about looking around you in your own home. Where can we make small changes? What changes can we afford to make? And these types of energy events are designed to help people and to answer these type of questions, because we don't want it to be a lofty topic where people feel, well, I can't engage with that because they're going to be talking about solar panels and I don't know anything about solar and I don't want to know about solar. There might be people there that might want to know about, well, how do I read my bill? Because it seems to be quite complicated. I'm not quite sure. What kind of tariff am I paying? Could I be paying a different tariff? We cover all that as well with people. So there's no question that's too silly or too small, I would say. And, Freddy would probably agree here. It's a lovely way to bring people together in the community. He talks about isolation. Like, I've worked with loads of different communities now across the county where you might have certain pockets of people in the community doing great work, but they may not all ever come together, to recognise all the work that's going on, because we are talking about volunteerism after all, Alan, and that's people putting in hours at the end of their working day to help bring people together. So I would strongly suggest people come down, even for a cup of tea, meet the neighbours, come down to the club, meet us. My colleagues from SEAI will be there, and from CLDC. We'd love to just see you, have a cup of tea, have a chat. And it's absolutely no obligation. There's no sales pitches. There's nothing like that happening. It's really just a free information session for anyone that's interested.
And as I mentioned, Freddy, too, Denise, it's energy costs and trying to save money in whatever way you can is foremost on practically everybody's mind. So what kind of interest have you been getting locally around energy costs and sustainability and this particular event next Tuesday?
Yeah, well, sure, Alan, I'm involved in the hardware game myself. I work in McCoy's Hardware outside in Killaloo, so I see it every day of the week. The cost of retrofitting a house now and the cost of building a new house, they're all gone through the roof. So anything you can save, like by way of energy, that's welcome, And you have a lot of people like on the margins and even in the market, So we're hoping like that a lot of people will come in. It's well advertised around. And we're hoping we'll get a lot of walk-ins on the night, We'll be putting it out to all our club members as well, but to the broader community as well, on community pages and through the Upper page and through the soccer club as well. We're also hosting Darkness into Light this weekend, another great initiative. It'll be our third year doing it in the market. So, we'll draw people in. We'll be spreading the word through all these different meetings and different get-togethers. So we're hoping we'll get a good turnout on the night. And like Denise, the information she gives is invaluable, And her colleague that was up with us already, he's very knowledgeable in all this side of it. So there's a lot to be learned. Like they say, information is power. So the more you can garner, the better, And it's brilliant, for a community project like ours.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be really beneficial. So, Denise, next Tuesday at Newmarket and Fergus GA Clubhouse, then, as I mentioned, in Mount Shannon, East Clare, on Thursday the 21st of May and Saturday the 6th of June in Cloughlea. What time do these information evenings get underway? And if other communities and other locations in Clare want to have an information evening themselves, how do they go about that?
Yep. So generally speaking, the events are on in the evening. So this one next week starts at 7 o'clock in the clubhouse in Newmarket, and Mount Shannon will be at the same time, and we might come back with more information on that one, but it will be in the community hall in Mount Shannon on the 21st. Cloughlea will be a different. It's a bit more of a family event. It's going to be a Saturday morning, 11 to 1 on June the 6th. Again, we'll come back to it more on that. That's going to be a bigger event with maybe some stalls there and information from solar PV providers and whatnot. If anyone in Clare is listening and you're part of a community group or volunteer group that I haven't spoken to yet, you may not be on my list, but I'd absolutely welcome a chat with anybody, and you can get in touch with me here in Clare Local Development Company directly, so you can just go online and find our details there.
Okay, brilliant stuff. No doubt there's going to be great interest at all of those evenings. My thanks to Denise O'Brien for being with us, the Sustainable Energy Community Mentor with Clare Local Development Company, and the Club Chair of Newmarket on Fergus GA, Freddy McInerney, with us on Morning Focus.